students, now I am going to teach you for a 7th lesson, the ashes that made trees bloom, from unit 4. So open the page number 55 in your textbook. So actually this is the chapter, this is the story written by William Elliot Griffiths. This is just a Japanese tale. As we will read this chapter, you will come to know that what is about, it is about life, how good people, how good and kind people there are, and how bad and greedy people are there, and what the consequences they face because of that. So this is the part 1. In the good old days of the dinosaurs, there lived an old couple whose only pet was a little dog. Having no children, they loved it as though it were a baby. The old dame made it a cushion of blue cream, and at mealtime Muko, for that was its name, would sit on it as snug as any cat. So it was so good days of dinosaurs. Just see the meaning. In 19th century Japan, wealthy landowners. So in that time, in that 19th century, there was the people who were so fortunate, who were so wealthy landowners. They have so much money, rich people. And this is the story of that century. So there was one old couple who was living and who had no children but a dog, and they loved that dog so much as they loved the old lady. See, crepe means that lady. So that lady has prepared a cushion also for that dog. So he came on that cushion and he ate his food. So the dog name was Muko. Now the kind people fed the pet with tidbits of fish from their own chopsticks and all the boiled rice it wanted. Thus treated the dumb creature loved its protectors like a being with a soul. So see the meaning of snug. Snug means comfortable. Now see that they were so kind, they were so lovable, so they loved their dog so much, and that is why in return of that the dog also loved them so much, and that's why he always protect them. The old man, being a rice farmer, went daily with hoe or spade into the fields, working hard from morning until Osama, as the sun is called, had gone down behind the hills. So that old man was actually the rice farmer who always daily went with his hoe and spade. Hoe and spade means the farmer used the tool for farming. In Hindi you can say kudal and fauda, in Gujarati also. So this is the tool he used to do with his farming, and he always worked hard. And see, Osama means sun. In Japanese, sun called Sama in Japanese language. So when till the sun got down, had go behind the hills, he did the job there. Every day the dog followed him to work, never once harming the white heron that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms. For the old fellow was patient and kind to everything that had life, and often turned out a sow on purpose to give food to the birds. So that dog was also so patient, so peaceful, so kind, that when he was going behind that farmer, behind that old man, so he also didn't any harm any heron. Heron means any babula. So that babula, that birds need some seeds, some flowers. So that old man also give that to them. One day the dog came running to him, putting his paws against his legs and motioning with his head to some spot behind. The old man at first thought his pet was only playing and did not mind it, but the dog kept so he will get some like a boar or a bunny fish or whatever. But what has come? He saw a pile of gold. So it was the gold, pile of gold that was gleaming. Gleaming means in Hindi chamakna. So that gold was gleaming. And then the second hour, the old couple were reached the good stalls, bought a piece of land, made a feast for their friends, and gave plentifully to their poor neighbors. As for the dog, they petted him till they nearly smothered him with kindness. So that old couple became so rich. So that's why they brought some you can say feast. Feast means you can say a large amount of eating food. So they arranged that food for their friends, for their neighbors, and they were just enjoying that richness. And they gave the plentifully means quite amount of that gold. They gave that amount of gold to their neighbors also. So they were so like their poor neighbors. So the old couple was so kind, so pleased to one another. That's why they gave all that something to their friends, to their poor neighbors. They celebrated with all of them, and they did something for their dog also. Now in the same village, there lived a rich old man and his wife, not a bit sensitive and kind, who had always kicked and scolded all dogs whenever any passed their house. So now it is the story about someone else, some other couple also. So that this couple is so weak and old man, like they were cruel, evil, they were bad people. Bad couple was living there, and they are not so sensitive. They are no kind also to animals, and they always scolded. They always scold. Scold means like arguing, or you can say punishing. They always do all this to the animal, to the dog. Hearing of their neighbors' good luck, they coaxed the dog into their garden and set before him bits of fish and other dainties, hoping he would find treasure for them. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, would neither eat nor move. So now this couple also heard the story of that old couple about that richness, about that dog. So what they did coax means just you can say मीठी बातें करके उनको उससे फुसलाना. So they just coaxed that dog. They put that dog to their garden. They gave some fish, something to eat to that dog, so that he will just let them know about that creature, about that. So, but the dog was like not ready to do that. So dog was so afraid that he know that they are the cruel pair, they are the cruel people, so that he would neither eat that and nor he scratch the garden. Then they dragged him out of doors, taking a spade and hoe with them. No sooner had the dog got near a pine tree growing in the garden than he began to paw and scratch the ground as if a mighty creature lay beneath. So what they do? They got so angry. And that's why they just dragged that dog to the doors. That dog was so much sad, so much he was like crying, and then he started the scratching. Quick, wife, hand me the spade and hoe, cried the greedy old fool as he danced with a joy. And now wife thought that the dog is finding something, so she started dancing. Then the covetous old fellow with a spade and the old crone with a hoe began to dig, but there was nothing but a dead kitten, the smell of which made them drop their tools and shut their noses. But what happened? Then they see the covetous. Covetous means greedy or lalchi. That lalchi people, that lalchi couple, there was nothing in the region, there was nothing any gold thing, there was just one kitten, one dead kitten, and because of that so much bad smell was going there, and so they have to drop their noses. Furious at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death, and the old woman finished the work by nearly chopping off his head with the sharp hoe. So furious means so much angrily that the old man started kicking him, started beating him, and with the help of that hoe, that his wife also started chopping his head, that dog's head, and dog got dead. Then they flung him into the hole and heaped earth over his carcass. So then they threw him there, and they heaped under the earth or carcass means dead body of the dog. The owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet and mourning for him as if he had been his own child, went a night under the pine tree. He set up some bamboo tubes in the ground, such as are used before tombs, in which he put fresh flowers, so that he is just owner of that dog got to know about this, and he was so sad. He was feeling he don't have the child. That dog was his own child. He was like that, his own child. So he did some bamboo, some flowers there. Then he laid a cup of water and a tray of food on the grave and burned several costly sticks of incense. He mourned a great while over his pet, calling him many dear names as if he were alive. So that old man was so sad. He was crying. He laid up a cup of water, some food to where that dog was hid. And he was crying, he was just memorizing that dog. At night, the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream and said, "Cut down the pine tree over my grave and make from it a mortar for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce." So that night what happened? That dog has came to that old man's dream, and he said that cut down that pine tree. Means in that grave where his grave was under that earth. So he was just suggesting cut that tree, that pine tree, and make some mortar. Mortar means it is some kind of a ball. So make some ball because of with the help of that pine tree for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce. So the old man chopped down the tree and cut out of the middle of the trunk a section about 2 feet long, with great labor, partly by fire, partly by the chisel. He scraped out a hollow place as big as a small ball. He then made a long-handled hammer of wood such as is used for pounding rice. So, as that dog has said to that old man, he did that thing. He made that ball, he made that mortar and just all that what dog has said. When nearest time drew near, he wished to make some rice festive. When the rice was all boiled, Granny put it into the mortar. The old man lifted his hammer to pound the mass into a dough, and the blows fell heavy and fast in the pastry was all ready for baking. So there was the New Year time, so they were trying to make a rice pastry, and that rice pastry they need that ball, that mortar, that hammer. So they started making that pastry. But suddenly the whole was turned into the heap of gold coins when the old woman took the hand mill and filling it with beans began to grind. The gold dropped like rain. But what happened suddenly when they were trying to make that rice pastry, and but with the help of that mass what they saw, there was a heap of gold coins. There was lots of gold coins, and when she started began to grind, then again that gold dropped like a rain. Meanwhile, the envious neighbor peeped in at the window while the boiled beans were being ground. When this was happening, the envious, jealous neighbors was peeped, means strictly watching from something else. They were just watching that strictly what is happening over there. Good evening, cried the old hag as she saw each dripping of sauce turning into yellow gold. Until in a few minutes, the tube under the mill was full of shining mass of gold. So it was just gold over there. So the old couple were rich again. The next day, the stingy and the rich neighbor came and borrowed the mortar and magic mill. So next day, that old couple who was a bad couple, they came to know that and they came here and they take that mortar and magic mill from them. They filled one with the boiled rice and the other with the beans. Then the old man began to pound and the woman to grind. Then they boiled that rice, they started making the rice pastry. But at the first blow and turn the pastry and the sauce turned into a fall mass of bones. Still more angry at this, they chopped the mill into pieces to use as firewood. So when they were trying to make that, but what they saw, they were like it was not all any gold. It was like just a full mass of bones. Means it was just bad smell of like something. Some insects are crawling, like it is dying, and that bad smell of insects was coming from there. And so they got so angry and they chopped that all the meal, they chopped all that bowl and they made that pieces and used as a firewood. So this was our part 1. We will see second part in next